Hey everybody, Boris this week at Forex. Welcome to our weekly technicals for the crosses for August 13th to August 17th, 2018. And on the crosses front, I really have a couple of very interesting ideas that are almost pretty obvious at this point, or perhaps maybe even a little bit counterintuitive to some of you. But I really like them because they seem to be setting up in a very crisp, clear fashion this week. Let me just get to them right away, and then we'll take a look at the charts and see how they look on the charts. Euro dollar had a massive reversal. And I think the irony of the whole thing here is that while the idea of Brexit certainly weighed very, very heavy on cable, the counterintuitive trade here is the worse the situation gets, meaning that there is no progress on Brexit talks, the higher the possibility that we could have a revote on Brexit itself, because the majority of the British public now is freaking out over the idea of a hard Brexit, certainly don't want to have a hard Brexit, and could be pressing for a revote on the whole issue. That in turn actually makes pound much more positive than negative. So the worse things get, the better they get for the cable. And that's why when we took a look at the charts, you can see there's quite clear direction here towards the 88 level over the next, over the medium-term horizon over the next couple of weeks or so. Aussie Kiwi, of course, is a continuation trade. Now, we had a correction here on Friday in the Aussie Kiwi, but it's one of those kind of corrections that did not take out the lows of the breakout candle, and therefore I think is still very positive. It may take a little while for the full fruition of the move towards the 113, but I really like this trade. We'll take a look at the charts and I'll show you why. I think it has more room to go. Certainly the interest rate differential story, the different monetary policy perspective story, all those things could continue to weigh on the pair, especially if we get positive Australian data this week, which could just exacerbate the view that the two central banks are going to have very different policies going forward. And then the strong cable story, again, this is just the beginning and the budding of the story, is pretty evident also in pound Aussie. We'll take a look at that. That's a much, much higher volatility trade with very, very large stops and targets. But if you're looking for sort of a rock and roll move to the upside, this is one of those trades that could really develop and mushroom over the next week or so. So let's take a look at Aussie Kiwi first. And here's the Aussie Kiwi. This is the weekly chart. We did come off the highs on a weekly, but still a pretty strong weekly candle to the upside. More importantly, as long as we hold the lows over here at around 109.50, it still presents itself as a positive trade. It's natural, I think, to have kind of probed and tested the very strong resist here at the, this is about what, 113? I guess 112.50, 113 is the big resist area here. So not at all unnatural to think that we kind of push back from it. If you look at the daily charts, here is, sorry, this is a 60-minute chart. My apologies. Let's look at the daily charts. Here's the daily charts. This is the big breakout candle post the RBNZ negative dovish rate decision. We correct back the next day after that, but still hold. This is the key thing. Hold above this 110 level, the 110 breakout level. And even if we have a couple of days of kind of distribution here, the most important thing is if we can come back, recapture the highs here at 1174, it really opens up the way towards the 1300 as a move here. The trade looks quite good, both technically and fundamentally, because we're trading well above all the moving averages here. And the fact that it got outstretched is it's only natural that we should come back a little bit and correct. Overall, I still like it to the upside with 113 as a target, 109.50 as the stop. In a similar vein, let's take a look at pound Aussie. And again, so this is the daily chart, which you already see the formation of the bottom much sharper and cleaner on the daily chart, where we've held the 74s, the 174 support, nice clean double bottom here, really almost a triple bottom here if you sort of take a look at this particular chart. Still trading, by the way. This is the dailies, very much on the upward side of the channel, above the 500, but just below the 220 SMA. And the potential here is obviously towards the 78s as a move back up. This is really a trade on pound showing some relative strength at the beginning of this week. That's what you're basically betting on. I think Aussie stays stationary, but pound can kind of push its way back towards the 28, 29 level, and that pushes us towards the 76, 77 level in pound Aussie. If you look at the weeklies, you can see the weekly, let me just zoom in here, creating a very, very nice doji candle here. We tested the bottom, came back up almost to the top. Even though this is not green, it's still a pretty positive formation. Generally, that kind of candle really gives way to more continuation to the upside. See these big reversal candles here? This gives way to the reversal side. Even here, which looks like a negative candle, gives way to the reversal side. It's bottom. The key thing here is this is signaling a bottom in a trade. That's why I like the trade, but it's a very, very high risk trade with lots and lots of spread between the two. If we go back to our levels here, you're talking about 72, 78 as our levels here on the pound Aussie. That's a big spread of the two. So you got to give yourself lots of room here for the trade. Finally, my favorite trade of the week, if I can just type, is the euro pound. Oh, sorry. Is the euro pound trade. Now this is the weekly chart, and again, the key thing about the weekly chart that I love is this is a reversal candle. Now it's green, it's not red, so it's not perfect reversal candle, but it's definitely showing us a flame out. We tested the 90s, came back down almost to the lows of the week here, and that's certainly suggestive of more weakness to come here in the pound Aussie. We have also scope here to go towards the 88s to just touch the 20-period SMA, so we have more room to the downside. This really becomes a trade in some ways on negative euro flows. The idea that the Turkish situation gets worse, not better, as the week progresses. If we get to 7, maybe even 7.5 on dollar Turkey, it really puts just tremendous amount of pressure on euro to the downside. Takes it maybe to 113, and therefore takes us down towards the 89 and possibly even to 88.50 as the week progresses. And the secondary component here is if there's any sort of suggestion that the voters are considering a second referendum on Brexit, that's a super positive news for cable, and therefore also adds fuel to the fire for a euro pound trade to the downside. So those are the primary cross ideas I have. They're basically sort of continuations or evolutions of the signals we got this week, and I think those are the best ideas we have. I wish you guys the best luck, the best trading. Boris, over now.